I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey, y'all. This is April.
It's Caroline.
And we got another serial killer story for you guys.
You have probably had the best month of your life so far with the past 2 episodes.
Yes.
With some serial killers.
Yes.
Who are pretty popular.
Pretty popular.
But
they
the
are
most
legit.
popular are yet to come.
We are ending very strong.
I mean, could you think of a more popular serial killer than today? Or next week?
He is worldwide. You can go to Indonesia and they will know who Jeffrey Dahmer is.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer, bitches. Are y'all ready?
I mean, I'm ready. Are we just going to go right in? Can you tell us what you're drinking at least for this bloody happy hour?
So what are you telling? We're drinking some Ukrainian vodka.
I think that's what it is. We're representing, we stand with Ukraine. That's all we know.
We stand with Kim.
Kim.
Right?
Who's
Kim.
Kim Jong-un? No.
Kim Kardashian, who is Ukraine. You didn't even get your
You
own.
meant the China guy. I was like, I'm sorry.
How is that the first person that comes to your head?
Because I've been
with
watching.
Kim.
Listen, whenever I found out about YouTube and Twitter, my life ended.
Wow. Wait, why is Jesse Smollett having another trial?
They're doing the sentencing.
Okay.
But they're trying to get him another trial.
Oh.
They're trying to say that there's 13 reasons why he needs another trial.
Is there 13 reasons?
That's what
Are there tapes?
I was like, oh my gosh, he obviously did it and he faked it. So just
Legit.
get over it.
It is spring break, and I just have to say, y'all, this story, today I worked on this story from 9 till 4. I've not even showered. I did brush my teeth.
April likes to wait till the very last second.
Well, and I do. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I worked on it.
Do you
want
to borrow my book called Procrastination? Because I bought it and I have yet to open it. What a shocker.
I don't know, but I had a lot of it written. It's just a big story.
Listen, here's the thing with Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer.
You can't skip.
There are 8 million TV shows. There are 8 million articles. There are several books. And you can go and you could get every probably single detail of his life. But you can't, overwhelm yourself with. Because I've already started on the Ted Bundy. And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
It's a lot.
Because you hear this one part. And you're like, oh, well, that's not accurate. So maybe this is. And then it contradicts whatever. So.
Well.
So there's just a lot of information. You just got to sum it up.
I'm not a good summer upper.
I'm not either.
So I've read a piece
So we're
of a
basically
book.
telling you it's going to be long, so get ready.
This whole month's going to be long. It's not going to be a 3-hour episode. It's not even going to be a 2-hour episode. But these will not be 45-minute episodes.
No,
this whole
so
month.
you need to
So
get
next month, get
your
some
drinks.
popcorn, get your
Get
drink,
some popcorn. Maybe you get
put
some
on your house shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some wine.
Put on your if you're
Cheese.
driving, put on your cruise control.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And don't park in an alleyway, where it's dark and you have to get out alone. We don't want you to get kidnapped.
So I have a couple of sources. Biography.com. I have the book by Don Davis and ChristianChronicle.com. Random, right? Okay.
Christian Chronicle.
Yeah.
Is that chronic?
Nope.
No.
Chronicle.
Okay. I didn't know if it was a marijuana or something. No. Okay.
So, and then of course watch a bunch of videos. So we're going to start you off with a little bit of audio from Dahmer.
Get ready.
You're going to hear a lot of his voice today.
Okay, here we go.
Tires. If you were out on the street now, would you still be committing the crimes?
Probably. If this hadn't happened, there's no doubt I probably would be. I can't think of anything that would have stopped me.
So you hear his voice, right? He's pretty articulate when he speaks.
Yeah.
He's very a matter of fact when he speaks. And we'll hear him a couple more times. But if you're just intrigued about any of his confession, you can just Google him, and he has a ton of confession videos out there.
And was it on Netflix that this whole interview was on, like one of his Dahmer on Dahmer or something?
He's got a lot of them out there. So Jeffrey Dahmer, y'all, he was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And
I've yet to travel there, but is on my list.
That's upsetting. Is that where the guy who killed his parents in the fire and put him in the fireplace?
Yes, remember I told you that. Yes. His
Saying.
birthday's May 21st, 1960, and his parents were Lionel and Joyce Dahmer. Now, for these, you can't skip on childhood on these because it has a lot to do, a lot of the times, with where they end up and what they end up doing. So Lionel and Joyce were married. They were just like a normal family. They said that Jeff was normal until he was about 4 years old. Like he was this happy, outgoing kid and had to undergo a double hernia surgery. And then after that surgery, he came out and he was withdrawn. Which it's weird because I hear that a lot, like with my parents with kids with disabilities. They have a surgery and they are totally different. Like they stop talking, or they get sick and they stop talking. And then a lot of times, then they end up, they're autistic, and these parents think, oh, it's the surgery or it's because they got sick. But anyways, that's kind of how it was with him. Jeffrey's not autistic at all.
Wait, so what was it having to do with the surgery?
I mean, that's just something that they remember about his childhood is that, but also how normal can you be? I mean, how do you really know him in 4 years? You know what I mean? So after this surgery, he was really withdrawn. He didn't talk as much. And then he was almost robotish. So,
how old was he when he had the surgery?
4.
Oh.
He was disengaged, right? And so even by the time he became a teen, he was friendless and still disengaged. He had a little brother that was born. His little brother's name was David. So while growing up, Jeffrey's mom was crazy. Like she was literally crazy. She was always arguing, picking fights and starting fights. If it wasn't with the daddy, it was like with the neighbors or somebody in the stores, something. She was always like on combat mode. And then when she wasn't starting fights, she was going through bouts of depression.
That's exhausting.
She would shut herself up in the room and like isolate herself for days.
It's like Dirty Jed's mom. Everything relates back.
It does.
I can't. By the way, he's a Gemini, right? When was his birthday?
May 21st.
Oh my gosh, she's on the cusp.
Okay. We have a lot of serial killers that are Geminis, I think.
Well, I know, and that's not like if you Google like dates of serial killers and their birthdays, it's like they're all Geminis and like Scorpios
Pisces or
and all
something.
this stuff, weird stuff. Anyways.
So, okay, so she would like lock herself up in the room. And so just think about that. Like if your mom is either combating or locked up, like you don't really have a mom too much growing up. So he wouldn't get that nurturing from his mom.
Did you say he's the only child or not?
He's got a little brother named David.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So he was loved, and his parents say he was loved, but just not in a traditional way. So at a very young age, Dahmer becomes obsessed with animals, carcasses, and animal bones. So it starts off with like bugs in a jar. Totally normal, right? Everybody's put a bug in a jar.
Yeah, like mosquitoes. You catch the lightning bugs?
Lightning bugs? Yeah. I never catched a mosquito. Did you do that?
I meant to say lightning.
Yeah, lightning bugs, put them in a jar. He would do like ladybugs. Well, he graduated to animals. And so...
I didn't put no animals in a jar.
Well, he wanted to know what the animals' insides look like. And so roadkill, he was pretty amazed by roadkill. So much so that he would carry a bag in his pocket. And when he was walking from school, if he saw a dead raccoon... Dead squirrel, he'd pick it up, put it in a bag.
No, I've never
and
really
he'd take it
wanted to do that.
His little science cabin that he had in the back of the house. And so then he wanted to kind of see what was on the insides. And so he would just kind of cut them up just to see what their insides look like.
I mean, you're born with this. Then like you're.
It's weird.
Because who?
Yeah.
I don't.
Maybe you are. So he would cut them up, and then he would save the bones. Like bones were, like he would just save the bones. And then one day at dinner, he asked his dad, "What would happen if I bleached the bones?" Right?
Oh, because wasn't his dad like a something?
Yes, chemist.
I was gonna say
yeah.
scientist. Oh my gosh, I
yeah.
can't believe I knew that. So he already had all those things in like jars. The dad did, and then Jeffrey added his own.
No, so Jeffrey, like as he's in his teens, he was not interested in anything. So at dinner time, when he's like brings this up, Dad gets
like,
really excited because
yeah.
he's like, "Oh, maybe he likes
Wow.
chemistry."
Yeah.
So he goes and he buys him this bleach and these jars, and they kind of do this together. Maybe like another form of hunting.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't interested in whatever, but like, oh wow, he's actually interested in what I'm doing.
So he kind of fueled this, but he didn't know everything that Jeffrey was actually doing. He didn't know that he was like slicing the animals up and then like killing squirrels in his spare time. So he eventually graduated to cats, but even dogs.
Yes.
And he killed a neighborhood. I never found if it was a neighborhood dog or his dog, but he decapitated it and put the dog's head on a stick. So in the books, and you could Google this picture and you can see like a dog's skull on a stick in his backyard.
Well, that's just not very nice.
By the end of junior high, early high school, like Dahmer was already drinking like a pro.
Oh.
Like it was Thirsty Thursday every day. He would bring his booze to school, keep it in his locker, and he would sip like throughout the day, all day, every day.
He just needed to relax a little, I guess.
And he actually called it his medicine. So I remember when Trent was little, I didn't want to say beer or whatever all the time. So I'd say, go to the refrigerator and get Mama her medicine. That poor kid's going to be Dahmer.
Oh, I call it hot juice.
His grades were average. And he actually ended up joining the band and playing tennis, and he was decent at all of it. And his dad was excited.
It does not look like a dog head.
Oh, it is. Look at that big old jaw.
Okay. Looked like a dinosaur head to me, but that's okay.
So, a dinosaur head?
It did. It
Or
looked like a
that.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
So, okay, so still in high school, grades are average, like normal kid. He also knew that he was gay early on.
Oh.
And he didn't really understand this, but he knew that he wasn't fantasizing about girls. He would fantasize about boys. But in his fantasies, the boys were like very submissive, non-responsive.
Oh.
And then that eventually turned into them being dead.
Oh.
So he was not fantasizing about live bodies.
No. Why would you do that?
Fantasizing about dead boys.
I mean, that's happened.
And he later says that his urges for necrophilia, that is, engaging in sexual acts with a dead body, started at age 14.
Okay.
This sounds real familiar to the British Jeffrey Dahmer that we talked about a couple episodes ago. Dennis, yeah. Started very early age. He would obsess over this jogger that he would see run every day. Like he loved this jogger's physique. He loves quads and like biceps, and that will come back later on.
Oh.
And this jogger would run the same route every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Jeffrey would go to the to the forest and the trees and hide and watch this jogger and sometimes masturbate.
In the
woods. And then he would fantasize about the jogger being in the bed with him, laying flat, and then eventually dead. So by the age 15, he's already planning, like, I want to kill this jogger. So he goes
why did he
to
just
the
go
woods.
so extreme all of a sudden? You don't want to have anybody alive, I guess? Okay.
No, he doesn't.
I
It's
know.
the whole thing.
I know.
He goes to the forest, and he brings his bat, and he waits for the jogger. and I guess the jogger is sick or decided to go to the bar or something because he does
Jogger
not
was
show
not
up.
on his schedule.
He was off
Oh,
schedule,
hell.
and thank God he was. And I wonder if, like, the jogger ever put it together that he was the actual jogger. You know, like later on when this
Yeah.
all comes out. He kind of comes out of his shell a little bit later in high school, and now he's a class clown. Which, if you watch his videos and watch his demeanor, you can't even see it happening, but he is. And maybe because he's drunk all the time, but he would make like random sheep noises. Don't you make a good sheep noise? Do it.
I do.
Do it. So you and Jeffrey Dahmer have something in common.
Oh my gosh.
So he would make random sheep noises in the middle of class. He would also fake seizures and act.
Oh.
I don't like saying this word, but this is how it was. He would act like a retard, and he would fake seizures in the middle of the classroom hallway, and people thought it was hilarious. And so he was like a class clown, and he joked around so much that they coined a term, pulling a Dahmer, or doing a Dahmer. So when other kids would act up, even the teachers would be like, "Why are y'all need to quit pulling these Dahmers?"
Okay.
So he kind of became popular off of that.
Okay. There a movie with,
Yeah.
who was it?
My Friend Dahmer.
Because I haven't watched any of the other series, but I did watch that movie, and I'm like, sounds like that movie.
Yeah.
But because
That was about one of his friends in high school, quote unquote friends that could kind of put him up to this.
that was a
wrote a book about
pretty
it.
accurate movie then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he did this until he's graduated.
Yeah.
And so now it's 1978. He's about to graduate. Parents get a divorce gladly because they're toxic together. And dad leaves and he's living in a hotel. Mom and little brother and Jeff are still at the house until one day, like the day before graduation, he comes home from school and mom is packing her stuff and brother David's stuff in the car, and she's gone. She does not take Jeff with her.
What?
And
Why?
he's abandoned for whatever reason. I don't know if this mama knew what her kid was, or if she was like, he's 18, he's grown anyways, or what. So he's living in the family home all by himself.
Oh.
Dad's can't come there because something about the courts. And so it's just him. So these urges, now he has space and opportunity and freedom
Yeah.
to
I was wondering how he
commit a
got that
crime.
home all by himself. Yeah.
Yeah. So he picks up a hitchhiker. This is after graduation. He's 18 years old. He picks up a hitchhiker randomly. It's not planned, but he has fantasized about this.
Yeah.
So this hitchhiker's name is Stephen Nix. And he pulls over, and Stephen's on his way to a concert. And he says, well, why don't you come with me? Have some beer. We'll party before the concert, and then I'll drop you back off.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, Stephen's like, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just so random how they're just so trustworthy back then.
Well, you needed a ride.
So they go back to the Dahmer family home, which is in Bath, Ohio right now. They're in Ohio.
Okay.
So they're having beers and they're hanging out, but the concert's about to start. So Stephen has to leave. This triggers something in Dahmer like it did Dennis.
Oh, he's going to leave. Somebody's going to leave him and abandon him.
Yes, he's already been abandoned by dad, abandoned by mom and brother, and he's so lonely that he just wants Stephen to stay forever, but he can't.
Mm-mm.
So he grabs a dumbbell and he beats Stephen to death with the dumbbell. His body laid unconscious, dead on the floor, and Dahmer thinks it's a good idea to strip bucket nakeds and masturbate over the corpse.
Yeah. I mean, what else do you do?
And he just passes out because he gets, he's
so
plastered.
tired.
And tired, probably. He takes the body into the crawl space under his house, and he starts to dissect the body.
Cuts him up. And
Yeah,
stuff.
because he's always wanted to know what's inside a person's body because he knows what's inside of the animals. Now he wants to know what's on.
It's a bunch of
What do the
guts.
insides look like? So then he like dismembers because he's been practicing on animals. Let's see. He later says it took him 2 hours to dismember, which is crazy.
I feel like
it
that's fast.
It is real fast. I mean, it took Zach and Addie weeks, and then he still couldn't even finish. So he was
must have had
actually
some good
good,
tools.
or some good that his daddy probably bought him.
Yeah.
So then they're in different body parts, and he grabs them and he puts them in bags and he buries them in different places around the house, which they live on 2 acres. And there's a bunch of woods nearby. But he begins to panic because he's like, whoa, some random dog can come and dig it up, and then they're going to find the body. So his science experiments with his dad's kicks in.
Really paid
And
off.
he just happens to have some hydrochloric acid in the garage because that's what him and Daddy used to dissolve animal carcasses with.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying it with humans. And he dissolves it all and then flushes the acid mix down the toilets like Dennis did. Him and Dennis have so much in common. Then he gets a sledgehammer because all he has now are bones. So he gets a sledgehammer and he crushes the bones till they're in little bitty pieces, and that's what he scatters around the yard and the trees and the forest.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work. And it only took 2 hours? I don't
Well,
think so.
No. It took him 2 hours to
dismember.
dismember. The other stuff was a longer process. And this happened over like a couple days. So
That's so. It's a lot of work.
Jeff's trying to be normal, and he
Oh,
just
clearly.
graduates. So what do you do after high school?
You go to college.
He goes to Ohio State University, legit college.
Legit.
He barely gets in, but he gets in, and he's majoring in business.
Okay. He's a
It
Buckeye.
lasts for
A day.
semester.
Okay.
Flunks out. He's a drunk, never goes to class.
No.
So his dad's like, take your ass to the army. Don't they always go to the army?
They always go to the army or like the military.
Military, one of the branches. Well, he goes to the army and he starts training as a field medic. Imagine that. He wants to work on bodies, bloody bodies. And he gets moved to West Germany. While he was there, 2 guys accuse him of rape. One guy said that he was repeatedly raping him over 10 months. And another guy says he drugged me and raped me. And so he never really got
What?
convicted of this, but he was discharged from the military. So they gave him a plane ticket and they were like, you're his last check. They're like, you got to go. There was also 5 unsolved murders in West Germany at the
What?
time that he was there, and they involved like dismemberment. He never confesses to this. It was never tied to him, but people there thought that maybe he would have something to do with these 5 murders there.
Why would he not confess to it if he confessed to
Yeah,
all
that's
the
the
other
thing. I don't
ones?
think he really did. So he has to go somewhere, but he didn't want to go back to Ohio because Dad doesn't really know what's going on, and he don't want to disappoint him.
Damn dad.
I mean, you're a mass murderer. You don't want to disappoint him because you got discharged from the army.
Oh, Dad was real weird in that one Netflix thing wearing those sunglasses, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
He seemed a little.
So he goes to Florida.
Of course you do. Of course.
I'm safe in Florida. Florida will take me. Miami, Florida, getting drunk, passing out on the beaches, renting out a hotel room, and he's working at a sandwich shop. Drank like a fish. And this is when Adam Walsh, the kid,
Oh,
John
yeah.
Walsh,
Yeah.
goes
Missing.
missing, get kidnapped, and decapitated.
Oh.
Later on, people try to tie this to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh.
And I don't remember
But he was a
knowing
little
about
boy,
this.
though.
He
wasn't
was a little boy. He was, I don't remember how old he was. He 5?
I feel like he was young, but then he wasn't the one on the paper route, so that I think I'm putting 2 together. But I know
Yeah.
that he was.
He was in a store. He was in
Okay,
a store.
so
and
he
went
was
missing
probably
from
like
grocery store.
yeah.
He was with his mom. His mom turned around for a minute and he was gone. Well, there was one lady that later on when Jeffrey like gets caught says that the person that she saw the little boy with looked like him. But he never confessed to this. It was never tied to him. I don't know if this murder is solved. I don't think it is. I think that's why he started Unsolved Mysteries and all that. So that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
So he goes back to Ohio with Dad, and Dad's remarried, and stepmom. And now they notice what a drunk their kid is, or his kid is. And they try to get him to stop drinking and like be positive, and they're trying to help him. But he gets arrested for being drunk and disorderly. So they're like, done. You're going to grandma. Why do they send their serial killer kids to the grandma?
Everybody goes to the grandma's.
Go and kill your grandma.
Like, do they just think that grandma can handle it, and like grandma won't put up with your bullshit, and like maybe you won't be mean to like he wasn't mean to them, he was just drinking, or maybe I don't know, but they're always sending them to the grandparents, and then they are probably gonna kill the grandparents.
Well, and he later says, and maybe this is why, that grandma is like the only person that he truly felt love for and felt loved by.
That's it. That's what the other one said. Like they love their grandma or grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Kemper, and then who was the other one who loved his grandpa? Who, at the beach.
Tiramisu. Oh, Daniel Nielsen, and then remember Tiramisu Masaki.
Yes.
Sutomo.
Yes, Sutomo Sasaki.
He loved his grandpa. Remember, ate his ashes.
Oh, hell.
Something about those grandparents. Okay, so he's horny, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
he don't really have anybody to...
He didn't have anybody dead to...
Yeah, there's nobody dead around, so he tries other things.
Yeah, like
he
what?
He goes to the bar, and if he meets men and he takes them home, of course he drugs them.
Oh, yeah.
But if that didn't work out, he would go to bathhouses, which I guess is like a brothel.
It's like...
for men. So you just go in there and you know you're going to have sex with somebody. I don't know if you pay. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm picturing like baths everywhere.
Does Mike know?
Okay. Well, it worked for him because he would sleep with a lot of men there. And a lot of them lived to tell us about it because they would say that he would get pissed if they moved, if they spoke, or if they reacted too much. He wanted them still, like a dead body.
Bathhouses serve as a gathering place, an invitation to connect in a setting where sensual absorption replaces small talk. What?
So it's a steamer. It's like a big ass sauna, like you see on TV.
What?
He just ended up having sex with people there.
Okay.
So then later on, he starts to drug these guys at the bathhouses.
Oh my gosh.
He would drug them and then he would rape them. And this happened like to 12 different guys before they figured out it was Dahmer. And then when they figured it out, he was kicked out of the bathhouses. He was not allowed to come anymore. But they didn't call the police. They didn't say this guy's drugging and raping us.
Well, he wasn't
pulling
like
a Bill Cosby.
Big guy. Was he?
He was big. He
wasn't
Kemper big, but he was like 6'4". Like he was, and he was broad.
Was he strong or something? Like, did these guys like couldn't get away?
They were passed out. He drugged them.
Oh, okay, yeah. But in the bathhouse. Okay,
that's why. So just like he will give them the drink. They pass out. That's why I think it's a little something sketchy. It's like these massage parlors, but there's other shit going on.
Yeah.
So then he gets arrested because he decides to show his wee-wee at the state fair in front of a bunch of kids and their mamas, right?
Pee Wee Herman.
And then about this time, Grandma finds a male blow-up doll in one of his closets, and she pops it and throws it out.
Uh-oh.
So you see, like, he's tried to find ways for his urges. Get a doll. They can't touch you. They can't react. Screw the doll. Have sex with men, but don't let them move, right?
Yeah.
But all these got taken away. Dolls in the trash, kicked out of the bathhouses. So these urges get bigger, and he gets desperate, And he's like, I'm just going to go to a graveyard and I'm going to dig up a corpse. And, I don't have to kill anybody. I'll just get a dead body and I'll just screw that.
Yeah.
So he gets all his tools and he goes to the graveyard.
Oh.
And it's so, hard. He doesn't even,
Yeah.
it doesn't last at all.
And it's 6
So he
feet.
can't get a corpse.
You got to go all the way down. And
Yeah.
then you have the
Then you have to pull out.
casket.
Yes. I don't know.
And
I
then
mean,
it's
Ed
probably
Gein
bones
did it, right?
or maggots. No, that protects them, right? The coffin?
Yeah, it protects them.
Or the casket? What's it
Yeah.
called?
Same thing.
Bad idea, Jeff.
Bad idea.
idea.
Did not work. Wah, wah.
Womp womp.
So, but he's about to blow. He's so
No.
horny.
You can't
right?
just masturbate for a
Well,
second.
he does watch a lot of
Pornhub.
porn. He does watch
Porn.
a lot of porn. He says later,
It just
but I
doesn't
guess
do
it doesn't work. Yeah.
No.
So he goes to a park where there's some 12-year-old boys, pulls down his
Okay.
pants, and he masturbates right in front of them. And of course, they're like, what the hell? Tell their parents, call the police. He gets arrested for indecent exposure. But he tells them, Jeffrey's very good with his words and very convincing. Remember on your episode, you said that they don't have anxiety, so he's not nervous. He's very calm in all these interactions that he has with the cops. He says, I was peeing, and I had no idea they were there. I guess he just wiggled it too.
Yeah.
I must have just wiggled it way too many
Yeah,
times, and they thought I was masturbating. So the Popos dropped his charge to disorderly conduct. And so he had a $50 fine and had to go to mandatory counseling.
Okay. Good luck. That's interesting.
That counseling was very helpful, I guess.
Oh, he didn't go to your same counselor?
No, probably the one I had before. So now he's finally found a job. He's been unemployed and living off grandma for 2 years. And so he finds
And
a
you
job.
know grandma don't have any money.
No, not at all. She's probably just getting her retirement or
Yeah,
disability.
and she's having to pay for your shit, and you're over here
He's
getting in trouble, and all you want to do is get drunk and
a
watch
winner.
porn
And watch porn and play
do
with dolls.
Yeah, blow-ups.
Blow up dolls. Well, he gets a job at the famous Ambrosia chocolate factory, and he will have this and keep this job through the rest of the podcast. This is where the Jeffrey Dahmer works.
Oh.
But he's still living with his grandma. So now that he's got money, he's able to spend money on guys. So he comes up with this idea, and I'm going to tell you right after this break. So he goes to a bar, and he's kind of hanging around gay bars a little bit now.
Yeah.
So he meets a guy named Stephen Tuomi, and he's buying drinks for Stephen. Stephen's from Michigan, and he's got all his new chocolate money. So he suggested that him and Stephen go get a hotel together, because you can't take him to grandma's house, right?
No.
So they go to a hotel to go spend some quality time
Yeah.
in the privacy. And according to Dahmer, which he's been very truthful, is that he wasn't doing this to murder him. He was trying to kind of be normal. His plan was to drug him and rape him, but not murder him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Normal.
I mean, logical, right?
Yeah.
So,
Friday night.
but he blacked out, and when he woke up the next morning, Stephen was dead, bloody,
What?
and he had no recollection of what actually happened to Stephen.
What? Did he drug himself too?
Oh, he just blacks out too much.
Oh, he got too drunk.
Yes.
My gosh, he had to have been on something else. How do you get that blackout?
Oh,
Yes.
you've never blacked out?
I don't, not with from drinking.
Where you wake up and you don't remember everything from the night before?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Is that blackout?
That's what a blackout is. So he blacked out and he didn't remember what happened. Obviously, he whooped Stephen's ass and Stephen died. So he leaves very quietly and calmly, and he goes to the store and he gets a big old suitcase. And this is how he gets Stephen out of the hotel. And guess what? You're supposed to carry suitcases in hotel rooms, so nobody's even questioning. He takes Stephen back to his grandma's basement and has sex with Stephen's body repeatedly. This is Jeffrey's dream. Like, this is his preferred state because he's still warm. He don't like them when they get cold. And
like they're not very stiff.
He don't want them stiff. And so he spends the next couple hours masturbating and dismembering the corpse.
So,
I know.
I
know. He removes the head and the arms and the legs from the body, and he fillets the flesh from the body into small little cuts.
Okay.
I think he puts them in acid. He took the bones and he smashed them with his sledgehammer until they're just little bitty pieces. He puts the flesh into trash bags, and he kept his head, Kemper, for 2 additional weeks. First, he tried to boil the head. He's trying to get all the meat off the head because he's obsessed with the skull. So he boils it in bleach, boils it in acid. Oh, sometimes he tries detergent and bleach. Like, he's just doing these science experiments on these people's bodies.
Oh my gosh.
Uses the skull for sexual gratification multiple times.
The skull or the
skull? So I don't think he did like Kemper did, and actually like Kemper would use the mouth. I think him just having the skull satisfied him sexually. So he was probably masturbating with the skull in his hand or on top of this. I just picture that for 5 seconds. Let me take a drink. My throat's doing so good.
I know. You're probably going to have an attack here in 5 seconds.
I will. Probably will. Okay. So he eventually smashes the skull after he has it for 2 weeks to get rid of it. Stephen's remains were never found. So his family was just missing him until Jeffrey Dahmer later gets caught and tells them. His dormant period between the first Stephen and the second Stephen was 9 years, which is a pretty long dormant period. Yeah, he don't have one of those anymore. His next victim is 14 years old James Dux Tater. Dahmer, now that he has money, he makes $8.75. He pays him to ask him to come take nude pics. I'll pay you $50, which usually is going rate. I'll pay you $50, and people just agreed to this. Yeah, I'll come and I'll take nude pics for you for $50. So he gets there, he drugs him, and he strangles him. He has sex with his body, dismembers him as well. After he leaves, he dismembers him after he has the body there for a week. So he's just spending a week with the body, talking to it. Dennis. Remember Dennis would like be on the couch watching TV with the damn dead body? Then when he did decapitate him, he boiled the skull and his little concoctions, used that as gratification, and then eventually turned that into dust. Dismembered the body, got rid of the body. In the garage, he was trying to figure out, the best way to get rid of it, right? The next one he brings down, but he's not able to kill. This guy doesn't drink, so he fixes him some coffee and he laces the coffee. But Grandma hears somebody because this guy is like stumbling around like drugged. Grandma comes down and sees him and sees the guy stumbling. And Jeffrey ends up calling him a cab and sending him home because he's like, I can't kill him now because Grandma saw him. And if he goes missing,
because Grandma didn't see any of the other people.
No. So
she was at church.
This guy was lucky. After this, Grandma's like, I don't know what he's doing down there.
I wonder if he ever came out and was like,
I know, I always wonder about this. Like the jogger or this guy had to have.
I know. Can they do a story about him? Them?
Let's find him.
Okay.
So Grandma's like, you got to go. My house smells like dead people. And I don't know what you're doing.
That's just
Drunk
how
all the
old
time.
people's houses smell.
You're grown up. Like, you got to go. So he does, but not before he kills Richard Guerrero. So
Poor
let me
Richard.
tell you, the first two guys, Stephen and Stephen, are whites. James was
Oh, he likes
black.
black boys.
Richard is Hispanic.
Other
All
one.
but two of his people will be of another race.
Yeah.
Black, like Laotian, Hispanic, some type of islander, like will be,
Yeah.
which was really
He
weird.
wants a little pigment.
He does, and it's really weird because remember, serial killers don't always cross those lines.
Yeah.
He was one of the first to do it, but his was about sex. Like, they tried to say it was about race eventually, but it wasn't. It was just like what he was attracted to, which was well-shaped, trim black men. And so that's how
Sounds about right.
that's who he picked. So he killed Richard Guerrero in the same manner that he did. Now he has to get his own apartment. This motherfucker is smart because he goes to Milwaukee and he finds an apartment called the Oxford Apartment in the hood. Predominantly like minorities, like transient people there, known for drugs and crime. So he's like, I am really not going to look suspicious. And they're not going to be worried about me at all. And then I'm sure he's like, these people can go missing and I bet the police won't really care, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So now he's living at 924 North 25th Street, apartment 213, the infamous apartment, Oxford Apartments. That building's not there anymore because I
No.
I know. So he tests out this theory. Fresh off of probation, he's on probation for those masturbating in front of those kids. Okay. He approaches a 14-year-old Laotian boy on the street and tells him, hey, I just got a new camera and I want to test it out. Let me pay you $50 to come over and take some photos of you. So he did, and he laced some coffee and he gave it to this little boy, and the boy's kind of like in and out. He's not totally drugged yet. He didn't drink a lot of the coffee. He fondles him and tries to take his clothes off because he says he wants sexy pics. But for some reason, the boy got away, and he stumbled out and safely got home. Yep, I know which one you're thinking about, so we're not there yet.
Okay.
So he safely got home, and it's weird that Jeff just let him leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he gets home, he tells his mom what happened, so Dahmer gets arrested, and he's charged with second-degree sexual assault and enticing a child for immoral purposes. He hired a lawyer, and he was released within a week. I mean, greatness, right? But
listen, what?
yeah.
Some bullshit.
But he's got a trial coming, and so after being released, he goes out to La Cage Bar, gay bar, and he picks up a black gay man named Anthony Sears. He asks Anthony, hey, you look good. Let me put you
take a
through
picture.
a photography session, and I'll pay you I'll have drinks there. So Anthony's like, bet. Now, mind you, these people need money. Like everybody in this area,
yeah.
So, and $50 was a lot of money to them back then. So he didn't take him back to his apartment for some reason. He took him to Grandma's house. So he set Grandma's house, and they're in the basement. He drugged him. He raped him. He dismembered him. He chopped off his head, boiled his head, and he kept this skull. He kept it, bleached it, and then painted it gray. And this will be the first of his collection of skulls. He later told us that he would have full conversations with the heads of the victims, and he kept the skulls as a reminder of his kill.
Well, that's nice. That's a
He
nice
was-
little trophy.
Now it's time to be sentenced for kidnapping that little boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was sentenced. He got 3 years in prison that was later reduced to 1 year, and he only served 10 months of it. And he
And-
was on a work release program. So he got to leave every day to go to work.
So basically, he didn't go to jail.
He basically didn't go to jail. He had to spend the night in jail cell.
Oh my gosh.
He got 5 years probation, was on this work release program, so he was able to keep his apartment and his job at the chocolate factory this whole time. Win. He's winning.
Wow. He's not even trying to win. Like, he's like,
No, it's
they're
just
letting him
privilege.
win.
It's just happening. It's just like easy. It's just easy for him. So now his daddy's kind of second guessing. Like Lionel actually writes a letter to the lawyer and to the judge, and he is like, "Please do not release him. He needs help. He needs an alcohol, whatever agency, rehab
You need
facility.
more than that,
He
Lionel."
needs counseling. I'm afraid of what can happen if he gets out.
Oh, hell.
He's out.
They don't even care. Why don't they listen to the parent? Well, the parent's sometimes crazy, but still.
I think they just had bigger fish to fry.
Oh, did they? I mean,
In their head, they thought they had what? Yeah. So he's on probation. He has his first probation meeting with his probation officer, and 3 days after that, he runs into another good-looking gay black guy
gosh.
named Eddie Smith. He's at the bar. Per his probation rules, he is 1, not to engage in any sexual acts, and 2, he is not supposed to drink or be in any drinking establishment.
Okay.
So Eddie's in town, staying with a family member because the gay pride parade is coming up.
Oh,
And he told his
hell.
sister, I'm going to go out just for a little bit, but I'll be back early because I got to get up. The parade's tomorrow.
Parade.
Parade is
LGBTQ
tomorrow.
plus QRA
Plus IAPK.
APK.
And he filed. Okay, so he didn't come back. And
Wait, is he living in Florida?
no, he's back. He's in Milwaukee.
Oh, he's back
at his
in
apartment. Yeah.
Okay.
He had moved to Ohio with his parents, and then he was Ohio with his grandma. Now he's got his own apartment in Milwaukee. So Eddie told his sister that he was going out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he'll be back early. Well, he didn't come back home. Never came back home.
Oh, no.
And she's filed a missing persons report. And a little bit after that, she got a phone call. The phone call said, don't bother looking for your brother. She said, why not? He said, because he's dead.
Oh.
She said, how do you know that? He said, because I killed her.
Him.
And hung up.
What? Now he's calling people?
I didn't remember this either.
I had no idea.
And so he actually calls multiple family members of several victims. Eddie's remains were never found. And the only reason why we know that he killed him is because he told us, and he later identified a picture and admitted to killing when he gets caught later.
Oh, my gosh. So what
Yes.
happened after he called them? Oh, my gosh. I did not know that.
Well, so he's just missing.
Yeah.
They knew that he was probably dead. And so when you tell the police, but they have no evidence, it's not like they track phones back then. They're just like, oh, he's probably missing. So
Gosh.
family gets closure, but way later on, a little bit of closure. Okay, so now he's moved on to a 15-year-old boy, and I guess he thinks this boy needs more money. So he offers him $200 to come back to his apartment to take some pics. So he did. And as Dahmer is snapping all the pics, he picks up a rubber mallet and he starts to beat this boy with it. Okay? Beat him and beat him and beat him. But he stops. And the boy gets up and tries to leave, and something in Jeff snapped, but not snapped in the way it snapped for the others. He was just like, okay, I'll let you go, but I will kill you if you call the police. So the boy was like, okay, I promise. So he leaves, runs straight home to his family. Family takes him to the hospital and then the police station. And he tells the police that this white guy that lives right here offered him to take pictures, beat him with a mallet. He had the blood and the bruises to show it, described what he looked like, where he lived, and then that's it. Police did nothing.
They didn't even go over?
They didn't go over there. They didn't knock on the door. Jeff was never questioned
Sound
about
like some
this
Waco
guy.
cops.
Sound like something's crazy.
She ain't gonna say it because she gets scared. What is wrong with these police? They got bigger
so
fish to fry.
frustrating.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, but that's a legit, like, you have evidence of an assault.
Yeah.
It's like they don't give a shit about this victim.
Oh.
And he's a 15-year-old.
Is he
So
a black
don't
boy,
you
though?
want, yeah, he's black.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't you want to find a perverted white guy living?
Yeah, well, apparently not.
Apparently not.
What an idiot.
He has another probation meeting with his probation officer, and 6 days after that, he goes to Club 219.
Oh,
I actually
gosh.
need to find out if that's still in existence.
Another bathhouse?
It's a club, just a regular club. He met Richard Guerrero, which was one Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
He met him there 2 years ago. So he was like, oh, let me go back.
Oh, he's going back to his old stomping
yeah,
grounds.
yeah. So he decided to sit at the bar,
Hmm.
and his drink of choice was rum and Coke. We should drink that today.
Well, way to go. I had no idea.
He'd sit at the bar, and he would hunt and look for somebody to kind of pick up, right?
Oh, my gosh.
There's where he found 33-year-old Raymond Lamont Smith. I don't got to tell you his name, his color, because it's Lamont.
Lamont.
He would be victim number 7.
Okay.
This is what Jeffrey says happened.
Okay.
I offered to pay him money to come back to my apartment, take pics, and drink and party.
Yeah.
When he got there, I fixed him a drink with my sedative concoction. Then I strangled him after he fell asleep. He removed the clothing, had oral sex with him, dismembered him while talking with his skull, and then he painted the skull and put it in his refrigerator. We later can identify that was Raymond Lamont Smith from the dental records because the skull was kept.
How do you go from, okay, when he dismembers them, it's a whole head. He just waits for the skin to fall off?
That's why he boils
Oh, he
them.
boils. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
He boils them in bleach.
Is
and
he back at his house
acid
yet,
and
or
all
is
this
he
stuff.
at his
He's
grandma's
at his
still?
apartment. He's
Okay.
at his apartment now.
Now, does this process smell? I've actually never done it, so I was just wondering.
Very bad.
Okay, but nobody knows.
Yes.
Okay.
They do, and they complain.
Okay, and then he's like, the police are like, oh, he's white, so he's fine.
Well, they don't complain to the police, but they knock on his door, and they're like, what is the smell? Because it eventually starts permeating to the hallways and then that whole floor, and you can tell where it's coming from. Sometimes he pretends like, oh, I've been smelling that too. I don't know what it is. Then he'll say, oh, I cooked some of my meat rotted, or my refrigerator broke and my food is old, or I cooked something bad. Like, he always had an excuse, but he was so very matter of fact and cool and calm and collective that people were just like, okay, whatever. He's just nasty ass.
Yeah, he's just nasty.
Nasty.
He has like greasy look,
Oh, yeah.
like white trash.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we got Ernest.
Oh my gosh.
And Ernest
He just doesn't. He's just like,
he just
anybody.
goes. Yeah. But there's not the news is not saying anything about a serial killer. Nobody knows that anything's going on. So
It's
he's
so
just
weird how
free.
some of them like want the attention and some of them just like do it just to do it, just because
Yeah.
they feel the urge. Like with BTK, like he just wanted so much
Yeah.
attention, and with Dahmer, he's just like, I just feel like I just have to do this.
Yeah.
Which is
His,
crazy.
he said his obsession and his compulsion, he had to. Like, he just had to.
It's like it's like he wanted to stop, but he didn't want to stop. Like
Yeah.
the only way he knew the only way he could stop is if he was captured or whatever.
And that's why he said that at the beginning is he would just keep on going. I don't think he ever wanted to stop. I think it fulfilled him so much to do this. And
that's why this is so fascinating, is because it's like, how even is that even a thing? I don't know.
I know Trenton was like in there with me when I was going over it, and he was like, how do people come up with this?
And it's like real, because there's so much fake news.
Oh, this is real.
And then you're like, how is this even real? It's not fake news, it's real. Oh my gosh, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Ernest Miller. He was in town for Labor Day. He gets a lot of these transient people too. Some of them are from the area, but some of them are just like visiting here. So then it's
even more
harder to kind of track them, right? So he got up and he was down for the weekend. He got up, went to church Sunday. He later went by a bookstore, and that is where he ran into Dahmer. Dahmer offered what he always offers. He accepted, and when he got there, he drug him. And this time he slit his throat.
Oh, was he changing it up?
Yeah. He later says he don't give a shit about the kill. He hates that part. He wants what comes out of the kill is that now you got a dead, lifeless body that could be totally submissive to him, basically. He didn't like the killing.
Well, why couldn't he just drug him so
BTK
bad?
loves the killing. Well, and that's why he kind of, in a minute, we'll talk about how he kind of experiments a little bit more. He don't like that he kills them. It's just a byproduct of what he needs in the end. So, this guy, he keeps his biceps and he puts it in the freezer for later. Okay. He actually keeps his whole skeleton. So he gets the flesh off. He boils the flesh away like in his acid, right? Cuts off the
be like huge
biceps
pots
and the quads that he wants. Not huge enough because he has to buy a barrel soon. So,
I mean, because that Chandler Halston guy who burned his parents, like, he could not even do all of it, 2 people in a whole house.
Well, and he's not totally getting rid of the flesh. Like, he leaves so much hanging around, so many parts of the bodies hanging around. So when he gets caught, it's like with Dennis, he'd have like a torso here and a leg and arm and stuff here.
There's got to be it's got to just horrible smell.
It is.
Okay.
I don't know how
I know.
he lived through it. And then he was working at the damn chocolate factory, making chocolate.
But like,
so he loved this guy so much that he kept his whole skeleton, the skull, all the bones. He bleached them, and it looked perfect.
Oh,
he was victim number 8. Ernest grandmas started to receive disturbing phone calls. One time, groaning noises. Another time, choking noises. And another time, a male saying, "Help me, help me." So he was taunting.
Oh, he
these
was
people.
taunting.
He was. All right, listen to this video because biceps in the freezer. This is kind of where he starts with the cannibalism.
Okay, you didn't tell me where
11:58. Just let it play and I'll start.
I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started. Eating of the heart and the arm muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me. At first it was just curiosity, and then it became compulsive. Then I tried to...
What did he try to do?
Let's go to the next part. It was compulsive. And what did he say? By him eating them, made them a part of him. And then they could never leave him. He is now a cannibal.
Well, that's good. He's graduated.
He's
I'm
graduated.
glad
a
he
little
stepped up
bit.
his game. I was getting a little bored with him.
So neighbors, right? Neighbors are like, "What the hell's going on
They're
in this
like,
apartment?
it smells like asshole.
It stinks." Then they would randomly like hear a damn buzz saw at all hours of the day and night because it's him sawing them.
I was about to
You would
say.
hear thumps and bumps, and it's probably him dragging parts of the body around because they didn't fight. Like there was never a struggle. And then he would be yelling and cursing. So was he doing this when he was talking to the head, or was he drunk and like belligerent and doing this?
All of the above.
We don't ever know. Probably all of it.
All of the above.
And then, like I said, the excuses for the smell. Like he had every excuse in the book.
Oh my. Like what? He farted?
No, spoiled meat.
Oh. The refrigerator broke.
Refrigerator broke.
He didn't shower.
Cooked
He had
something that
mold
didn't
in
turn
the
out right.
Department.
Apartment.
Oh my gosh.
So Dahmer like is in the middle, like in his prime right now, right?
Yeah. He's really feeling
He's
himself.
like about, I mean, he's got all his new friends that are just all these skulls in his refrigerator.
So he's kept how many skulls at this point?
So I don't know how many skulls he has, but he just finished his 8th victim. We're on number 9, David Thomas.
Okay.
His remains. Okay, so he picked up David and brought him home. But then when he got there, he was like, "Oh, I'm not really attracted to him."
Oh,
But
I'm sure you'll be attracted to his skull because they all look the same. Or do they?
yeah, I'm sure they do.
Well, maybe they don't.
And he didn't want to kill him, but he had already drugged him. And he was like, "I can't let him go because he's going to be pissed and he might tell on me." So he ends up killing him, but he did not rape or masturbate or do any kind of oral sex on his. And neither did he save his flesh or his bones, or he did not eat him.
What did he do with him?
He
Put him down the trash chute?
just disintegrated him.
Melted him in the acid? Oh my gosh.
He took a 5-month hiatus after this one. And
'Cause
he had
was-
such a bad taste in his mouth about it because he was like, it was a
Literally.
waste. Because remember, he don't like killing. He only liked killing when he got
Apparently.
something out of it. And he didn't get anything out of this. I mean, he's logical. Did I tell you his IQ
Yeah,
was
very logical.
145?
He sounds very logical.
Oh. 145. He's just as smart as Kemper.
He sounds so logical. He is kind of a genius.
So
Not-
he's on a hiatus. Just kind
What
of
does he do? Just go to the chocolate factory,
Yeah.
come home, watch porn, smell his horrible smelling apartment, check out his skulls, masturbate on their skulls, talk to the skulls.
Yep. I mean, he was
living his best life.
best sober life right now. Sober from killing. He's still a drunk. And he's been starting to like, because he's got to see his probation officer, I think every 2 weeks. And he starts confiding in his probation officer. I would love to be his probation officer because they have to like confide in you. So he told his probation officer that the only family members that he talks to is his grandma. His grandma would call him at work, and it made him feel like somebody cared about him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he said that he has not spoken or seen his mom in 5 years.
Because she just pieced out with the other,
With the other little
with
David. And his dad, he talks to from time to time, but he's not going to see them for the holidays because he's really ashamed of him being gay, of his gayness. And he's just,
Yeah, because it was like,
he don't feel like that they accept him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was stigma back then.
Not that, well, they didn't know he was killing people, but yeah.
Well, and it's the holidays, and you know, you just get real depressed around the holidays anyways, is what his probation officer was saying. And so he doesn't kill until right after the New Year's, and it's 1991 now. And Curtis Straughter was killed. Dahmer keeps his penis his hands, his skull, and his heart. He later says to eat it. So up until then, he's only been eating the biceps and the quads, the muscly parts of the bodies. Now he's
What
graduated
about the butt?
to the heart.
He doesn't
I
like
don't
the
know why I
butt.
don't like the butt. I don't know.
I feel like
And-
he would like the butt, but no.
I guess not.
Okay.
And he wanted to keep the genitals, so he would keep these things in those like jars that you see like in the science labs with
Yeah.
that solution in there.
Yeah.
So that's
So
where
he
he
had a
kept
floating
his
penis?
Yep.
Okay.
And his hands. And
Oh my god.
he would always take photographs of them, right? Alive, dead. Now he starts taking photographs of him doing his work, dismembering, like
Selfies?
selfies before selfies.
BTK selfies.
Yes. Yes. Selfies before selfies. And like of like the finished product, like the skull in the pot boiling and then the skull afterwards. Like he was documenting this because he was going back to it.
Oh my gosh.
He later says he was keeping these skulls because he wanted to make a shrine, like a little shelf worship kind of area where he can
He
go and
just
have
wanted-
quiet zen.
Yeah, he wanted to decorate. He wanted to decorate.
That's why he was painting them different colors.
Well, he's artistic.
And he later says like a memoriam of
Yeah, he's thinking
them.
about him.
He's, you know, as
You know, April.
he used to be my favorite, but I don't know anymore.
Yeah, why you we're all about him, and now you're
I
doubting him.
appreciate. Yeah, and I'll talk about it, but I appreciate how truthful he is, and that's probably why one, he's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But then he's very truthful. Where a lot of them, like Bundy, I don't think really comes out and says it,
No.
and he doesn't take ownership for
no,
any
he
of
doesn't.
it.
'cause
And that's
he's real
what pissed me
cocky.
off about Bundy. But Dahmer was like, you can't blame anybody else. It's all me.
Yeah. But then so did BTK, but he was like creepy about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Blech.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeffrey gets a phone call from his mom, who has not talked to him 5 years.
That's
She's
nice.
now living in Fresno, California, and now she understands that he is gay, and she's working for an AIDS clinic for the gay community. And so she calls him up, and she's like, I know you're gay, and I've accepted it. I've learned more about this community, and I feel so bad that this disease is
Oh, it's a disease.
haunting
Oh
this
my
community. AIDS, talking about AIDS.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she works for an AIDS clinic.
Okay. So she's thinking
Like it's a
okay.
gay-only disease, first
Right,
of all, idiot.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but he hung up the phone and he felt relieved because he's like, oh,
I'm accepted.
okay, yeah, maybe my mom does accept
But I guess
me.
back in the day that they
It was hard to-
did like relate gay people and AIDS.
Yeah. Okay, so after that phone call from his mom, he felt relieved, but this did something to him where he kills 7 more people in the next 3 months. That's like he would, overkill. And a lot of them were in 1 month. So Errol Lindsay is when his killing game kind of steps up a little bit even more. Errol Lindsay was victim number 11. He was a member of the choir at a local Baptist church. When he kills him, he starts to experiment with lobotomizing him, and he's about to tell it. So he would drill a hole in the head, and he would pour different things into their brain. He's trying to make a human zombie. He tells us it's on 12:15. Should be right there because that's where we ended.
At first, it was just curiosity, and then it became compulsive. Then I tried to keep the person alive by inducing a zombie-like state. By injecting first dilute acid solution into their brain or hot water. And it never did completely work.
Could someone like you?
It never did completely work.
Oopsie.
He was lobotomizing them in his mind. And he tried multiple things. But with this one, he was putting hydrochloric acid in the brain. Ultimately still killed them, right? But he wanted them to not be dead. He wanted them to be alive,
Comatose.
but zombified, comatose. But Errol actually woke up after he had drilled him and poured the hydrochloric acid into his brain. He like popped up and asked what time it was, according to Jeffrey Dahmer, and said, "I have a headache." So Jeffrey drugged him again, strangled him, and then cut off his head.
Oh.
But he kept the body because they wanted to preserve the body. He was like, well, I don't have to get rid of the body if I could preserve it. So he put it on ice. He put salt on it, and ultimately had to get rid of the body too.
Oops.
His next guy, which makes me doubt, like later on he talks about how kind of sorry he seems to be for it.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes after a member of the deaf and mute community named Tony Hughes. He lived actually in a state hospital, but he was in town visiting, met him at Club 19. They couldn't have a conversation, but Dahmer wrote on a napkin,
Oh my God.
"Come back to my apartment and I'll pay you," or whatever. And he came. And he left. So he killed him, and he left his body in the bedroom for a while. He was real special. He liked him. And so he would sleep next to his body for the next little bit. Like, he didn't cut him up. He didn't dismember him. He didn't do anything. This next victim is very controversial. This is Conorak. He's a 14-year-old Laotian boy. He was a soccer player in high school. He decided to skip practice. I don't know why, but he did. He wanted to take a bus downtown to check out Grand Avenue. Well, guess who else was checking out Grand Avenue that day? Jeffrey. And Dahmer liked what he saw. But let me tell you about Conorak. Conorak is the younger brother of the first Laotian boy that he is on probation for when he drugged him and fondled him. And remember, he got away and ran away.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine, like, this family runs into Jeffrey Dahmer twice?
No.
Both your kids?
Mm-mm.
Well, Jeffrey gets this boy in his apartment the same way he got the brother, paying for freaking pictures. So he goes to his apartment, right? He makes him a drink with his concoction, and he's already in his underwear because he was taking those pictures, right? So he was in his whitey tighties and passes out on the couch. Jeff gives him oral sex, and he takes him to the bed, lays him in the bed next to the deaf person, and he rapes him. And then he goes to get a beer, and he's out of beer. All skulls, no beer.
Oh, no.
So he leaves to go to the store to get some beer. And on his way back is when he sees Conorak naked, blood coming from his anus, and there's 3 women that have him and stopped him. And they call 911. And here's a little bit of that 911 call.
Well,
That
did you
first
just
one.
say blood coming from its anus?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's where the AIDS comes out of. Right here?
The first 911, the first link that I sent you.
The whole thing?
It's only like 16 seconds.
Emergency operator 71.
Okay, hi. I'm on 25th and State, and this is young man. He is butt naked. He has been beaten up. He is very bruised up. He can't stand. He's study fall out. He is butt naked. He has no clothes on. He was really hurt.
He's butt naked. He has no clothes on. She wanted to reiterate like how beat up this boy was, right?
She did a good
and that
job.
he was bucking naked.
Yeah.
Well, cops come, and so does Jeffrey at the same time. So you got these 3 black ladies talking to these white cops, and you got this little Laotian drugged up boy, right? And they're trying to say something wrong is happening, and here comes smooth talking Jeffrey, and he comes up and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is my boyfriend. We are gay lovers, and we had a quarrel. He's drunk. He doesn't know what's going on. I'm trying to get him back to the apartment. I'm sorry." And the cops, this is when gay was brand new.
Yes. I think this is when they were like laughing about it. And they're like, oh my gosh, they're gay.
And so the women were like, don't give him to this man. This is real weird. Don't send him to him. And so Jeffrey, the women were like, this is a little kid. That can't be his lover. And Jeff says he's actually 19. He just looks young. And one of the girls was young, and she says, I'm 19. He is way younger than me.
Yeah.
So, of course, the cops believe, guess who?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Oh my gosh.
And the women end up having to leave. They follow Jeffrey and Conorak back up to Jeffrey's apartment, where they basically serve Conorak up on a dish. Now, remember, this apartment's stinky as hell. Okay? And he just convinces them. Conorak sitting on the couch. He can't say anything because he's so drugged.
And they didn't notice that he had a thing, like a drill in his head?
I don't think he had drilled him yet.
Okay.
I don't think he had drilled him. I think this was just the effects from the drugs. I kind of hear back and forth of like if that's happened yet. So anyways, they didn't ask for an ID. They didn't ask for his name. If they would have gotten an ID, they would have known he was a sex offender, that he had a past, or that he was on a probation.
Yeah.
These cops were later fired when they found out that they were not lovers. They called it in as a lovers quarrel squabble between 2 homosexuals.
And they laughed about it.
They laughed about it and made fun. Later on, people were like, did you not smell the dead people? And they were like, well, every gay person's house that I've been to, there is a weird smell. And I'm just not surprised what I see anymore at a gay person's. Yes, it was ridiculous. They were fired, but they later got their job back.
Of course they did.
Like within a year. But had they done their job, like a little bit of their job, 4 more people would not have died.
Wow.
The next victim was a 20-year-old. That's Matt Turner. His organs were kept in the freezer to eat later on. Jeremiah Weinberger was 23. He was victim 15. He actually got to live for a long time. They spent the whole Saturday together. Saturday night, they had sex. They had oral sex. They were drinking. Were having fun.
With them
they
alive?
Were cuddling with him alive. Yeah, big step for Jeffrey.
Oh.
The next Sunday, he got up and said, "Oh, it's getting late. I gotta go."
Oh, he was leaving him, so then he had to kill him. So
Jeff was like, "Oh, we'll just have one more drink."
This is just like Nielsen.
Just like Nielsen. Have one more drink before you go. So he made him a drink. He tried to make him into a human zombie, but this time he injected boiling water into his temple, into his brain. He was like, well, the hydrochloric acid didn't work. Let me try boiling water. And didn't work. He had to kill him anyway, so he chops him up, put his head in the freezer with the others. So he looks around and he's like, oh, my apartment's getting full. Like there's body parts everywhere. There's skulls everywhere. So he gets a big barrel of hydrochloric acid. How do you get this to your apartment?
Couldn't tell you.
Where do you buy it? Home
Don't
Depot?
know. I guess.
And he has these torsos in the refrigerator that he's having to get rid of. So instead of just doing a little bit here and there on the stove, he gets a big barrel. So those are slowly being disintegrated.
Oh my gosh.
Oliver Lacey is they go back, they do a back rub with each other. Lacey passes out. He has sex with his warm body. It's his favorite time to do it. And this time he injects chloroform into his brain. Chloroform. Cuts out his heart, puts his head in the freezer. He says he was eating the heart for dinner later on. So he loves these heads so much, he actually has one that he takes to work with him in his bag every day. And he puts it in his locker. Yeah.
Okay.
He describes it as a mummified head.
Remember?
So
I
not
had to
the
look.
skull.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what that looks like, so I had to Google it.
A mummified head. And it makes him feel powerful.
Yeah.
And it makes him feel like they are with him even when he's at work.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Look at the common denominator of how lonely Kemper was, how lonely Dennis Nielsen was. Who else? And then how lonely Jeffrey Dahmer is to drive them to do these weird things with dead people.
I mean,
Loneliness
I get
and friendless
lonely,
is a
but
big deal.
I don't get that lonely.
No.
I just do my puzzles.
So he gets fired from the chocolate factory. And his
Finally.
life even more kind of goes downhill. His last victim is Joseph Braden Hoft, 25 years old. And he leaves Joseph's body in the bed for a while and leaves. And when he comes back, there's maggots everywhere. So he chops him up, puts his torso in the acid with the other torso, and keeps his head in the freezer. And then goes right down and finds another guy named Tracy Edwards.
So he's just compounding he's just doing too much.
Yeah. Well, and Tracy is the one that gets away. He sees Tracy at Grand Avenue. At Grand Central, whatever it's called. And Tracy's with a group of other black guys, like there's friends. And so Jeffrey just comes up to him and talks to him, and nobody was scared of Jeffrey, just cool and calm. And he offers them to come back to his apartment. He had beer. They can play music, watch flicks, watch a picture show. And so he says, me and Tracy will go get the beer. Y'all two meet us. Here's the address. It's a fake address. He knew better, right? So they go to a fake address. Him and Tracy go back to his apartment, and they're just drinking and talking. Well, Tracy's weirded out because he's like, this apartment's nasty. It smells like death. And there are random pictures of nude bodies up on the wall in the living room.
Oh.
Nobody else has been able to say this because everybody's been dead.
Yeah.
And he obsesses over these fish. I didn't even know he had a fish tank. And so he tries to leave. His friends don't show up. He's there for hours. His friends don't show up. And Jeffrey Dahmer is watching the movie Exorcist.
Oh.
I feel like Dennis was watching the movie Exorcist.
He probably did the
too.
same thing where he would put the same movie on every time with somebody.
Yeah. And that's what Dennis did too. But why The Exorcist? It's so evil. It's so scary. So so Tracy tries to get up, but Jeffrey snaps a handcuff on his wrist. And then he just puts his head on his chest, and he wants to hear his heartbeat, and he tells him, I'm going to eat your heart out.
Okay.
Tracy,
So
fight
sweet.
or flight. knocks the shit out of Jeffrey, gets up, and runs out of the apartment. He's a runner. He's a track star. Goes down the stairs onto the regular main public land, sees some police, and these police got some sense because they
Finally.
listened to him, and they go back to Jeffrey's apartment because there's handcuff evidence. Like, he's still got this cuff right here. He never got to cuff the other cuff them together. So they go to Jeffrey's apartment, 213 or 219, I forgot what it was, and Jeffrey answers the door, cool
As a cucumber.
as a cucumber. And he tried to tell them that him and Tracy were, like, that's how they have sex, their boyfriend. And Tracy's like, no.
Once again.
No. He's like, I have talked myself out of situations before. I can do it again. So it doesn't work. And they say, we need the key. Give us the key to the handcuffs, right? Jeffrey refuses. They demand it. He refuses. So they try to get in, and he kind of fights them back. Ultimately, they handcuff him, push him in, sit him on his couch, and that is when they see first the pictures on the wall, naked bodies, right? Then these weird power tools, saws and stuff. And then here's the smell. And they, in the next room, is pictures of the actual crime scenes and dead bodies. These are just nude pictures in the living room, dead bodies, and they go to the refrigerator. And in the refrigerator, they find 4 severed heads that still have the face, 7 skulls, 2 hearts, some biceps in the freezer, human organs, and flesh in the freezer. 2 complete full skeletons, some severed penises, a mummified scalp, and the drum of acid that had 3 torsos in it. There were also 74 Polaroid pictures of Jeff committing these crimes, like crime scene shit. So Jeffrey's like, I confessed
He didn't have
to everything.
Okay. That's a whole lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
So, of course, go look at any of these confessions. So now he's in custody, right? And so this hits the news, and they're identifying, like, victims, and he's very forthcoming. First, they can identify with all the teeth and the skulls, right? But they only find 15 body part, of 15 people. They can connect 15 people, and he killed 17. So he ended up having to tell them about the others. 10 of them were black. So there was so much racial tension. They were not only pissed at Jeff, they were pissed at the cops, because they were like, how did y'all let 10 black men go missing, and there's the cops, nobody knows about it. Nobody looked for them. Nothing. Because there's missing person reports out. They didn't want to listen to the family. Because it was so bad, they had bulletproof glass around Dahmer in the courtroom during his trial. What? And for some reason, there was only one black person on the jury, which is supposed to be a jury of your peers. So that was a big deal for a while. Both Dahmer's parents, those pictures are horrible. Both Dahmer's parents attended the trial, and they've done plenty of interviews since then. First, he pleaded not guilty, which is stupid because you confessed. Then he pleaded guilty, but by reason of insanity. On February 15th, 1992, the jury ruled him sane. And after 10 hours of deliberating, he was convicted on 15 counts of murder and 15 consecutive life sentences.
That's a whole lot.
It's a lot. Win. The other 2, like the first 2, they just kind of never found their bodies. So there's no evidence besides his words. So He goes to prison, right? And he's segregated from general population because they know he's a target. 1, all the black people are going to be mad at him. 2, he's a queer. And then 3, he's a kid killer. So he's like he would die. But for some reason, he asked to be with the other inmates. So people are like, is this his death wish? Like, is he trying to die? Or was he lonely again? Did he think he's going to get friends? In 1994, a prisoner tried to slash his throat with a shank. It only left superficial wounds. But on November 28, 1994, he was assigned work detail with Jesse Anderson and Christopher Scarver, 2 other murderers. For some reason, the security guard just left. And Scarver beat both of them with a barbell. Remember his first
dumbbell?
kill? Yeah. With a dumbbell. His first kill was with a dumbbell.
And like, you just happen to have that in your cell.
Right. And so it was actually the barbell, like that you bench press. So you can't hide that.
Oh, hell no.
So the cop knew, and he later says that the cop knew, was paid to leave him alone. Jeff was dead within an hour, and Anderson died days later. So he killed both of them. Dahmer was cremated, and his ashes were split between each parent. Wonder what they did with those. Dad ended up writing a book called A Father's Story. He's still alive, and Mom died of cancer in 2000. Brother David is no longer David Dahmer. He changed his name, wanted to have nothing to do with Jeffrey and Jeffrey's life. And like, we don't know where he is. We don't know what his new last name is. He wants to stay hidden, as he should.
Okay.
Everything in his apartment, his estate,
Oh
was left to the victims' families.
Oh, that's nice. What, really?
Well, but think about it. It was worth
what?
a lot of money. So first they were going to auction it off.
The skulls?
Well, the skulls were evidence, but like
The pictures?
Jeff-
Like what?
people would pay money for Jeffrey Dahmer's TV.
Oh,
People
my
would pay
gosh.
money for Jeffrey Dahmer's couch and chair and the tools that he used to kill them.
What is it that, like, at what point was he, like, so famous or infamous?
As soon as they found out about him, like he hit.
Just because he went so long for...
And he's our first one about like that is open about cannibalism and about gay and necrophilia. Like he was the one of the first ones that was just this open about it. And then the fact that he was so open, and so was Daddy, and so was Mama.
Yeah.
Like it was just an open book, and people were mesmerized
Yeah.
by him. So they didn't get to auction it off, but one little organization raised $400,000 to buy all of Jeff's things, and then that money went to, so like Jeffrey's refrigerator, they got like $25,000 for it.
Well, good.
People just wanted this stuff, so the families got the money, so that's one good thing.
I want to know who are the people that want it. Like, they are also serial killers.
Jeffrey Dahmer's childhood home in Bath, Ohio, where he made his first kill, was on the market for years. Never really got to sell. Somebody finally sold it and rented it out for $8,000 a week, and it rented.
Oh my!
People crazy.
You actually,
I would
you
get
would
up. I
probably
know.
do it.
I would do it in a second. Brother, okay. This is how I have to end, and I want to know your thoughts on this. Remember I said I had a thing from a Christian Chronicle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chronicles.
Christian Chronicle. Okay, so there's a guy named Kurt Booth.
Uh-huh.
He was a minister in Oklahoma, and he watched one of Jeffrey's confession videos. And Jeffrey stated somewhere in there that he just wanted some peace about what he did. Mm-hmm. So this minister, who used to be in prison, turned his life around. He ministers to prisons, and he has baptized and saved over 1,000 inmates. He said to himself, I know somebody who can give you peace, Jesus. So he mails with a stamp, a Bible and some journals to Jeffrey Dahmer, right? And some like things that you fill out, like little Bible studies. Jeffrey read the Bible a couple times while he was in prison, and he replied back to Kurt and said, thank you, and answered some of the questions, that was in like this little journal thing that he sent. And so they corresponded for a while. He would go visit them. They would have Bible study. They would write back and forth. Jeffrey wanted to get baptized. He never knew anything about the Bible, and he found out in the Bible, if you get baptized and if you confess your sins.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, he's trying to get cleansed.
So he says, there's nowhere to baptize me here. So a local church allowed for Jeffrey to come in and get baptized there. After being saved, one of his letters, he said, I don't know if you heard, but last Sunday I was attacked while I was in the chapel. Some guy tried to cut my throat open with a razor, but it didn't succeed. The razor broke and my neck was only slightly scratched. I believe that it was the only protective grace of our great Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that saved me from serious injury or death. Got baptized. So this happened, got baptized, then he was killed. Curtis Booth says that he believes wholeheartedly that Jeffrey was sincere and apologetic, and that he has no doubt that he will see Jeffrey Dahmer in heaven.
Okay, good job, Curtis. But you're also going to hell, so bye. Curtis, get
and
out
the
of
Christian
here.
Chronicle. So if
Curtis.
you read the Bible and you believe,
Curtis, he's still in hell. Come on now. Come on, Curtis.
I don't know. We might go to heaven to see Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh.
If he was genuine. You don't think?
Oh.
What do you guys think? Do you think
That's
there's
a
a
whole
chance
lot.
that Jeffrey Dahmer can go to heaven? That is a whole lot to take
April,
in.
he's gay. He has to go to hell.
No, all sins are created equal. All right, y'all.
Stress. Wow.
That is a whole lot of Jeffrey Dahmer for you guys. We will see y'all next week for another earful of some teddy bear.
Get ready for Ted Bundy.
Caroline's turn. We will see y'all one more. Stay alive.
And wait, always speed. We did it wrong. DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Constant Contact's digital marketing platform is just what your small business needs to stand out, stay top of mind, and see big results. With an easy-to-use, powerful toolset of email and SMS marketing and social media and events management, you can sell more, raise more, and fast-track your growth. Not a marketer? No sweat. With our AI content generator and automated emails and texts, you'll say the right thing at the right time, every time. So get going and growing with Constant Contact today. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.